Hello makers! I can't believe it, but I'm bringing to you today my last card for the 2023 Halloweeners design team for Whimsy Stamps. And today my card is part of the Halloweeners design team Instagram hop. Our hop is sponsored by This Calls for Confetti. And so I am going to be making a shaker card with some of the things from This Calls for Confetti. So that being said, I'm not really great at shaker cards, so I'm really actually looking forward to this, and just I'm learning along the way. So I kind of feel like my motto has been recently, I make the mistake so you don't have to. So this may be one of those tutorials, but here's what I'm using. So I have the Home Sweet Haunted Home stamp set from Whimsy Stamps. I have the Handmade Monster stamp set from Whimsy Stamps. I have some StazOn ink, and I'm going to see if this works. Then I have from This Calls for Confetti. This is called a full front shaker pocket, and it fits a mini slimline size card. So This Calls for Confetti has these in A2 size. They have these in slimline size, and then they have lots of other little shaker, circles and things like that that you can use with die cuts. But this is for the whole front of a card. And then I have from This Calls for Confetti purple sparkle gems. Look at these. How fun is that, right? And then to go with that, I have, these are the black sparkle, gloss black sparkle. And then I also have these. These are like half beads, and there are multiple different sizes in there, if you can see those. And these are the raven bead embellishments. Let's go ahead and get started and see if my plan works. I have my card fronts cut. I have cut 3 in case I mess this up. So I'm ready to go in case I need some help. And then I have my card base. Now my card base is 6.5 by 3.5. These I cut 6.25 by 3.25, and they should fit right into the pocket here. And then these flaps will fold around it and adhere all the way around so it is sealed, and all the little shaker elements should stay inside. Okay, so we'll see how that works and if I can get this right. So I invite you to come along and let's get making. Well, I've already changed my mind. I went ahead and gave it a try. That's, if you don't try, you just never know. So I stamped on the front of one of the full front pockets from This Calls for Confetti, and I stamped in StazOn ink, and I'm not super happy with it. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp directly on my background, and then just leave the pocket plain. So I'm going to throw this out. But I want to do a couple of backgrounds in some different colors, and I'm actually using oxides this time. I'm generally a distress ink person, but I did do 3 oxides for this background. So at the bottom, Shaded Lilac, then Dusty Concord, and then Villainous Potion. So those were my 3 purples for this one. So I'm going to do a couple of others, and then we'll choose which one we like best. And then I'm going to stamp directly on it, and then go ahead and put that the pocket cover over. The colors for this background are Ripe Persimmon, Broken China, and Chipped Sapphire. Just went back and forth and blended them together, did a little spritzing with water, and then went to the next one. This is Fossilized Amber, Spiced Marmalade, Ripe Persimmon, Seedless Preserves, and Chipped Sapphire. And again, spritzed it with water, dried it. And then this was the first one that I went over, and I added some Seedless Preserves and some Spiced Marmalade so that it wasn't all just purple. So with oxides, you can go over previously inked surfaces and change them up a little bit. So that's what I did there. And then here's the one with the right persimmon, broken china, and the chipped sapphire. I'm stamping in black soot archival ink right onto the oxide. When you do this, do want to make sure that your oxide's completely dry, or your archival ink will look a little bit mm, powdery, or it will oxidize a little bit. So do make sure that your backgrounds are completely dry before you start stamping. Once I had two sentiments and then the scenic strip die stamped on all three backgrounds, I then went and picked out the tiptoeing Dracula and the bat stamp from Handmade Monsters. And you have to stamp the bat twice because there's only one bat stamp. So I'm doing that. And I'm putting a bat by each of the sentiments, and then getting the tiptoeing Dracula so it looks like he's kind of tiptoeing through the scene down there at the bottom. Of course, it's hard to get it exactly right, so I did trim off just the tiniest little bit at the bottom so that there wasn't any of the background sky showing through underneath the grass or the bottom of that scene stamp. And so I did that quickly, and it also made it fit into the pocket a little bit better because I did cut them just the tiniest bit too long. So now they are ready to go in, and I'm going to go around the outside edge with a little black soot distress ink, and that will cover up any other little bit of the sky that might be at the bottom, as well as white edges. And it also kind of darkens the edges all the way around. And so I like that. It kind of felt like it tied the whole thing together. With the backgrounds finished, I decided it was time to start putting the full front pockets onto the backgrounds. And so the white areas are to be folded back, and then they have adhesive, and so you pull off those adhesive strips and stick it down, and you want to do that on three sides. So I started with the top, and then you'll see that I'm going to pull the backing off of one side and then the other side, and now I need to fill it with some of the confetti from This Calls for Confetti, little shakers, gems, and things like that that I had chosen. And then when you have the amount that you want in, you go ahead and pull the last strip off and apply it, and there you have your shaker. Now, each one of the full front pockets has a plastic protector on it so that it doesn't get all scratched up while you're working and getting everything done on the card. So once you get the peeling started, you get it to come off. It takes just a second to get it to start to peel. And then once you do, you can just kind of pull the whole sheet off. And there you go. And your pocket is finished, and it's nice and shiny. And you can see all the little sprinkles in there. I felt like these needed a little something, and so I pulled out the Slimline Bunting dies, and I'm going to cut a few of the small ones, a couple of them from this purple polka dot paper, and that is from the Vintage Halloween paper pack from Whimsy. So I'll just cut a few, and I might put a bunting across here and then a bunting across the top. And then I might put some of these, of the raven bead embellishments in the middle of them, just for a little pop. Right, so I got those bunting cut, and I'm going to attach them now with some glue dots that I have. So I, of course, put a longer one down in between the scene and that lower sentiment, and then I just put three little banners up at the top in the corner so that it wouldn't cover up either the upper bat or the upper sentiment. And then once I got those attached, I wanted to do a little bit more embellishment. So I pulled out some orange platinum sequins, and I'm putting the large sequins on this card in the middle, just with a little drop of collage medium. And I'm using my Gina K. It's a sticky thing. I'll put a link to it. And then this one, I use the medium sequins on the card on the left. And now I'm putting a tiny drop in different spots on each of those banners because I'm using the small bead embellishment and I'm putting them in different places. So they're not in the center of the sequins. They're just in different places just to add some interest, and so it's not quite so uniform, and I liked that. And these beads are medium on the large sequins. So I just love the texture. Well, as you can see, I ended up making two, and they ended up being not too difficult to make once I figured out what to do. I love these, the full front pockets for the shakers. I think that's really fun, and I like that they kind of pooch out a little bit, so it allows you to use some thicker things in there. You don't have to just use completely flat things. And then I was able to use some of them on the little banners just for added decoration and to pull in some of the colors from the background. And that even worked on this one with that little bit of purple in the top, so it still worked out, and the purple in the shakers, it tied it all together. So I think these are fun and simple. They were actually quick to make once I figured out what I was going to do. And I want to thank you so much for following along with me on this last card for the 2023 Halloweeners Design Team season. And just a reminder, this is part of our last Instagram hop. And so if you go back over to Instagram, you can either go to the Whimsy Stamps Instagram page, or you can go to my Instagram page, and there will be all the information there for how you can be sure that you have the best chance at getting your name in for the drawing for the This Calls for Confetti gifts and any other prizes that go along with this hop. I want to thank you once again for joining me for this tutorial. If you have any questions about anything that I did and maybe I didn't cover it very clearly, go ahead and ask in the comments for this video, and I'll be glad to get back to you as soon as I can and hopefully clear up any confusion or anything that I may have caused. So once again, thank you, thank you, thank you. I so appreciate you watching, and I so appreciate your comments and likes and all of that. It really does encourage me and just makes my day so much better. So thank you very much and have a very creative day.